All right, Val. Hi, Val.
Hi, Pete.
All right, I have we are live. I don't know if there's there is a viewer. There is actually a live stream viewer right now. I usually don't want to go with the show until there's an actual person, but we have an actual person.
Right on. Hi, actual person.
I don't know who you are, but identify yourself, and we will give you praise. But Val, I have something to begin the show, and you came all this way, and I hate to do this to you, but I'm going to have to because there are no open mics for me to go to, and I've been writing all these jokes, and I have no idea if it's funny or not because you know what I mean, an open mic.
So you're going to use me as your guinea pig?
Yeah.
I'm your test audience?
Yes. The worst thing a comedian can do to another comedian is to sit there and make them listen to their material. It's the worst thing to do. You're just trying to have a goddamn cigarette and some comic. Do you think this is funny, Pete? No, I don't. I don't. I'm going to pretend.
God, I hope it's funny.
Anyways. No. This is what I want to tell you, Val.
Okay.
There's a very good chance this is not funny. and I would say normally what I would do is write this joke out, and what I would do is I disguise it as like organic conversation.
We're just having a conversation.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And I had that worked out. I would say, I can do this one like that. It's easy because it's about something that actually happened to me. But then I thought, no, I'm going to tear down the fourth wall, pull back the curtain, show the little man with the monkey or whatever. Did he have a monkey?
Which man?
The little man in Wizard of Oz? You know when you...
Did he have a monkey?
No, the
dog... I know I'm old, but I don't remember.
No, he didn't have a monkey. That was me. So. That was me.
That's Ross from Friends.
But if you're Oz, you'd get one of those flying monkeys and you'd have it as a pet. I would, if I controlled the whole place, you know? Wouldn't you want a flying monkey?
God, no. No! He would shit on my hair?
Oh, yeah.
The worst.
You're right. Monkeys are gross. I had a bat in my pool. I don't know if you saw that. I put it on Instagram. He's got, I had a bat in my pool filter. When I went to...
Was he alive?
Yeah, it was alive.
Oh, my God.
And I had to, I couldn't kill it. Not that, my instinct was to kill it. And it was drowning anyways, you know? All I had to do was, hold his little head down, and he would, squeak his way into sleep, forever sleep, you know?
Aww.
But my nephew is there, and his mom is treating it like a trip to the zoo, you know? Uncle Pete found a bat, you know? I'm I'm just about to murder it. I don't want him to witness this, you know? Anyways, this is my joke. He crawled out. I put the pole of the thing in there, and the bat clung onto it, and then I just lifted it out and let him in the forest.
Maybe he was committing suicide because he's so ashamed of the blame he's taking for COVID.
I bet you that's what it was. Well, then I fucked it up for him, didn't I? Well, you know what?
He was trying to die by pool owner.
I said just eat the fucking mosquitoes and do your job. Stay out of my house. Stay on my pool. I hope he learned his lesson. But this is not about that, Val.
Here comes the joke.
This is about, I wanted to say, I have one kid. You met both my daughters inside my house. And my one daughter, she said she went to school last year to Western, right? And, I gotta wet my whistle here. I had to pay Western University. And these universities made out like banshees during this COVID thing, right? They would give you an itemized bill of all the amenities of their wonderful school that your kid will be prohibited from using and how much they cost and how they contribute to the total amount you pay. And your kid's not going to get to use any of it, but you pay for all of it.
Shut up.
Yeah. I'm not even kidding. There was 0 deductions off of the bill for having, you couldn't use the gym, you couldn't use the
But they still charged.
Yeah, everything. Everything was exactly the same except for none of the services you could use, right? It's kind of like if you were to pay for a lady of the night to come to your home, once a month to do all the filthy things that you can't convince your wife to do to you, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then she gives you an itemized list of all the disgusting, perverted, twisted pleasures that you can think think of, and then the associated costs associated with these perversions would be then itemized, so you'd know, X, Y, Z I'm going to get, and that equals like your $350, right?
Okay. Yeah.
It's like a woman of the night. She comes to your house every month, and she just relieves you of your sexual demons in order that your wife doesn't even have to know about them. She doesn't have to be feel weird about them. Nothing like that, right? It's a perfect service that this woman's providing. And then all of a sudden, COVID hits. And now, let's call that girl Crystal, okay?
Crystal.
Okay, let's call the girl Crystal. And then COVID hits, and you get a message from Crystal, and she tells you that she can no longer lick your balls. She tells you she can't lick your balls from greater than 6 feet away. That's what she says. That was supposed to. And then she also says that all of her orifices will be temporarily closed for the aforementioned reasons. Right. So now all you're left with is pissing on Crystal in a hazmat suit. It's not worth the $350. Is what I'm saying.
But she's still going to charge.
She's going to charge me the $350. Anyways,
it's exactly the same thing.
It's exactly like that. That's how I feel like. It's not worth $350 to piss on Crystal
from 6 feet away.
Not anymore. Maybe you got me 10 years ago. I'd have a shot at that game with Crystal, but now I got nothing. I'm just a trickle out the tip.
She'll just dip her toe in the puddle.
Yeah, I can't do nothing. And plus droplets, eh? I think droplets. I don't know. I think you think there's anything in that? Think that work on stage? I don't know. I botched every aspect of it up. I think there's beats in it if I really bled it out. But until that time, I almost lost that. Did you see it?
Oh, your drink?
Yeah. Anyways, that joke, I think it was kind of shitty. But I think
there's always something there. It doesn't matter how shitty the original joke is. If you think there's something there, then it's worth going for it. Every time.
And if you have an audience, and you can play with it a bit.
Yeah.
Right? Because then you can be like talking to the person and then like making it about them, kind of,
Yeah. It's just the way you rearrange the words, or as you say, you figure out where the beats are, or maybe you have a different opening, or. Mm-hmm. But if it still feels right to you, I always say look for it. Look for the funny. Why not?
You know what I found out when I did, and it was like a light bulb moment for me in comedy, was go through my old jokes. I've been telling these jokes for years, and then all of a sudden it dawned on me: cut all the fat out of all of them. Like I was putting things in threes because I thought it had to be, and I was like, it felt unfinished, so I'd put in another joke, and it never really ever landed. But I would always still do it because I felt it was part of the piece. But I just was like, get rid of it. It doesn't work. And then I just stopped doing it. And then everything became tighter and like everything popped more. And then the jokes would fit together better because they were all like cleaner. So then you'd notice that this joke, I didn't even know it had much to do with that joke. But then once you cut all the
then you can see how you can actually tie them together. And for some reason, in the beginning of a joke writing session, you feel like you need to explain why you're about to talk about the thing you're going to talk about. And so we always have this ridiculous long lead up that we think we need for some reason. And then as you say, you do the joke for a year and you can't figure out why it never really hits. And then one day you walk up and all you say is, so the other day I opened the fridge, right? Then you just get right into it.
Yeah.
Instead of trying to explain everything. Nobody cares. Just, so you open the fridge? Yeah. So keep going.
Oh, man. Dan Brennan says it. He says he's watched jokes of mine unfold on stage, and he goes, when you go up the first time with it, it's fucking brutal.
He's saying this about you specifically?
Yeah, about my shit. He goes, it's like, it's awful. It's like, it's just a whole bunch of stuff meandering, and like, I'm all floating around the point. Like I'm just fleshing it out, and I'm bombing so much, like it's like bomb. Like I'm just shooting it at and just failing it, but I'm searching for everything I can. Like I'm just fleshing it. I kind of know that going in that I'm going to eat shit tonight,
Mm-hmm.
And then the second time, then when I go, I'll do that again, and then it'll be clean. It'll be like that was the second part of Dan's comment too. Is the next time I see you try the same thing, it's just all the good parts, and I'm like, oh, that's the point of it. To do it, you know?
I know. Why? It's too bad that we have to put the audience through that. Why can't we just figure that out on our own?
Oh, these poor audiences, that we ambush.
And I hope Dan learns that lesson someday soon too.
What?
So we can always critique somebody else's work.
Oh, I
have
know.
a hard time looking at our own.
It was a compliment though. It was at the end because he was saying your first one is so crappy, and then your second one it's weird. It's amazing to watch it develop. That's what he was kind of trying to say. Mm-hmm. Like he enjoyed watching the process. But yeah, he said it. I probably said it. I probably recounted it worse than it was, knowing me, because I would have put my filter through it. But anyways, he's right. That point is right. It is brutal my first times out, but I don't do that in a show where people pay ever.
Right.
You know, like
that's fair.
And if I'm at a good club, even if I'm not getting paid, I will only sandwich in a new thing, but it'll be a clean new thing. Like it'll be one that I kind of did my work on. And if I'm at an ambush open mic, everybody hates me, or it's all comics and there's no real audience there, then I'm gonna do that nonsense stuff. Especially if it's all comics, because if it's all comics, then it's like, okay, you can think this isn't funny, but it's helping me right now. It's more of a working room, anyways. I'm not there to, you know. Like,
and this is true for everybody. You're not alone.
Yeah.
We all eat shit when we try something new, and it's too bad because we have such hope for these things. Yeah. It's fun to do the jokes that you've honed, and it's fun to get those laughs. But what's really exciting is when you come up with something new, and you just know that it's funny. There's something here, there's something here, and then you get up on stage and you say it, and you're hoping everybody sees what you see in it, and they don't, and it's devastating.
Sometimes you know, like before you're finished, and you still have to finish it, but you know, and you're like midway through, you're like, oh my god, that was a bad idea. Like if they didn't like that, they're sure shit not gonna like how it ends, you know, like, and then you still do it anyways. That's why I love watching certain comics. There's certain comics, and I'm close to getting them on this show. David Green, and I want to. Do you know David Green?
Yeah. He's the English guy, right?
Yeah, the English guy, and he tells like one-liner jokes, right? Or not one-liners, puns. He does puns. Sorry, he does pun jokes. You know, it's a lot of puns. It's a lot of puns, and if you don't like puns, you're not gonna like it. Mm-hmm. You know, if you like the puns, you're gonna love it. You know. But if you run into a room, I've seen David kill, like just destroy rooms, you know, in rough rooms too, like weed rooms where people, people can barely pay attention. He'll crush, you know. And when I see him work at the Showtime there, 90% of the time he's doing great, you know. So I'm not slagging him. But one time I worked at Showtime, and the people didn't like his jokes. And when he started, you know, I was like, I've seen him so many times. I was like, well, where's he going to go? You know, because like I know if this was going like this for me, I'd have to change gears. You know, like go into something a little different. They don't like dirty. We'll go try family stuff or whatever. You know. Yeah,
you'd reach for your major hits.
Yeah, like I'd try anything. You know. And then, but this guy, he's like the next one. If they didn't like that one, the next one's going to be a different version of that one, right? It's like a one-liner comic. I saw this other like one-liner comics when. They're great, but when they bomb, they have nowhere to go because people don't like the one-liners. They're not going to like any of your one-liners, and so those sets to me as a comedian are the funniest things. Like I laughed so hard watching him bomb because I was in the back just crying because it was so difficult. Like,
how does he handle it?
He just plows through. He's got to just keep doing it. You just got
same energy. Just keeps going.
Yeah, you have to plug through. Like you can see the subtleties. Like I think if you didn't know him, you probably wouldn't notice it's as bad as because I've heard the jokes before, and I know how the crowd's supposed to react. Right? Like when you've heard it in various settings, the same joke, and you've heard the different crowds in different settings react the same way, and then you go to one place and the crowd doesn't. It's funny, eh? Like, because that's not his fault, right? That's just like bad luck. But it's like you got to watch that guy squirm. Like, and it is it's really, really hilarious. And so he I remember when he came off the stage, he was like all sweaty and stuff, and then he could see me laughing. And he said, like, that's what happens. You just got to do it. Like, you just got to keep doing it.
Well, he must have had that experience before. He must know.
Oh, sure, yeah.
He must know that some crowds just aren't going to dig him.
Yeah, yeah.
He must be, he would have to be okay with that, right? And not let it destroy him.
I think every comic has to be okay with it or get out, Like, if you want to work, if you have any ambition of working a corporate gig, you're gonna bomb.
Yeah,
I'll tell you, because not everyone. I work one corporate gig. I've only worked one because they're not gonna book a dick joke guy. A lot of them, right? So they go, but this one was like, they said you could do all the dirty you want, just don't do any drugs or alcohol jokes, and that was the only thing. So it was for the Narcotics Anonymous. I can say that I played their gig. I just can't tell you who they all were. But it was one of my best gigs I've ever done. It was so much fun. But that one was great because the crowd was like super cool, But the most corporate gigs, they throw like a real like business guy. Well, they throw a real business guy on there, talk about your fiscal results, right?
Yes, and then you have to come on and just completely change the tone of the room.
And there's one like sales guy that got on the corporate planning meeting, right? And he likes comedy, and so he says, "I'll take care of entertainment for this," right?
That's right.
And then he goes up to the microphone. Usually, I've seen this firsthand. I forget I picture this poor comic. They set him up to fail so badly. So then the guy whose idea it is comes up to the thing and says, "Hey guys, I got a big surprise for you. You just finished eating supper and listening to boring shit. You're like,
Q1 results, and here's how we're going to try and boost Q2 sales, and enjoy it. Let's thank the kitchen staff for the chicken.
And here's a surprise for you, a comedian." Hey, you're not going to ever have heard of them because it's in Canada and we don't know any comedians. And then this guy comes out in a suit and then starts telling his jokes, and like the guy who booked him's laughing his ass off, and the rest of the people don't even know what's going on.
Oh no!
That's how I've seen it happen many times, and it's no fault of the comic. They made that comic. They pay him well, and they torture the guy. That's what they do. They don't set it up that they want to be there.
No.
Anyways, that is. I think we need to start this show, Val.
Okay.
Because one, no one knows who you are. Two, we always do a thing, and if we don't do the thing, then the people don't feel like they have the warm and fuzzies of the Dutch Hall.
Thing. Do the thing.
The thing is
don't not do the thing.
I have to do the thing.
Do the thing.
I will. It's called a theme song. Hey, welcome to the Dutch Hall, everybody. I'm your host, Pete Van Dyke, and we have a great show here tonight. We're Thursday night in the pool shed back in Pine Grove, and we're really popping them out. This is the second one this week. We're starting to get some in the bank now. We're building a bit of a catalog so it does take the pressure off. And I am very lucky tonight to have a guest come all the way from Hamilton to be here. And I've been lucky enough to be able to work with her doing stand-up comedy. I've been lucky enough to work, believe it or not, acting and she's a real actor. I myself am not. Val Cole, everybody. Val Cole is here.
Hello. Hey, thank you so much, everyone. You were great though when we were shooting that scene. You were super fun. You're playing my ex-husband.
Yes, I'm playing your ex-husband, and
you're a bit of a dick.
Yeah, huge dick.
Yeah, and
I don't like him. I don't like my character.
No. Well, but you can't think that way, right?
I know.
I can. We all shouldn't like you. You're a dick, but you can't think of him that way because he's you, and so you think you're like you would never say that about yourself, right? You would never talk about yourself that way. So he is a dick, but he doesn't think he's being a dick. He thinks he's smart and clever and smooth and probably pretty handsome and good with the women. There's a scene where you're flirting with our daughter's teacher. My God.
Yeah, well, maybe
such an ass.
It's not really flirting. It's more like if you would have shown up to a few more of the meetings, you would have realized that you would have developed a relationship with her too. But you didn't show up to any of those meetings. And when I was covering for your ass, Claire, right? I spend enough time with this principal that now me and her have a bit of a rapport with one another. Can I help it?
Look at you doing the backstory. I love it.
And if you really have to bring it up that it bothers you so much, maybe you got a little bit of jealousy there, Claire? You maybe want to rekindle the whole relationship with Papa Peter? Or what's my character's name? Henry? Henry.
Is it Henry? Yeah, I think it is Henry.
I'm Henry. To be honest, like me, Pete Van Dyke, if my name was not Pete, if it was Henry, I would go by Hank. I think I would go by Hank. This fucking guy would never go by Hank.
No.
He'd be insulted if you called him Hank, right?
Yeah.
He's a douchebag.
He's a total douche.
He is. I don't know why you married him. I know it's not you. It's your...
Because you do stupid things when you're young and you don't think things through, and then you're with somebody for a long time, and then you have a kid, and now you're stuck with them forever. No matter what, you're still stuck with them forever. And now you won't bring our daughter to my mother's funeral. And what the fuck? Like, what's wrong with you? Why can't you do that? We should just rehearse the whole thing right here.
And maybe, spoiler, it's actually, I was thinking about it too, yeah, because like does AJ let you go and play with it a bit like that? Like, could we do something like that? Could we could I go off script and just say that and kind of accuse you of being jealous?
Well, I think.
Or could I say something like this? Like, why don't you go? Why why are you giving me grief about that? When you're out fucking kids. Eh?
You can't. Is that? Hang on. So there's a scene. So just to bring you up to speed. There's a scene in the movie. So my character is her mother has just died, and she had a complicated relationship with her mother. She doesn't know how she should feel about it. Her emotions are kind of all over the place, and nothing she can put her finger on. Her ex-husband is being a total douchebag and an asshole, and isn't cooperating with the funeral. Just all she wants is for her daughter to come to the funeral. He won't bring her. And
yeah, that's bullshit.
And then so I'm dealing with this, and I show up to a school meeting hungover because my mother has just died, and I'm going through some stuff. And at the end of that school meeting, you've annoyed me to such a degree that I pick up the phone and I call my friend. And the next scene is me with this really young guy. Not illegal young, but really young.
And it's not like he looks like a grown up. Like, I'm not saying that Ben doesn't look like a grown up, but I think he's been on the show once actually, Ben. But like he has got like a youthful innocence to his face, like a sweet face too. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, he's perfect for this.
And so even though it doesn't look like you're with a child or anything,
no,
but it does look like he's like way out of his league.
Yeah,
like way.
Yeah, and so his backstory is he's in his 20s and he's dealing with the women who in their 20s who are infuriating and confusing, right? But so hot, and so he's struggling with that, not knowing how to handle women. And then I don't know how we meet. We've got to figure that out. How come up with that backstory.
Oh, that's easy.
What?
That's easy because you're like, I think your character's probably in her 40s, right?
Mm-hmm.
And usually, I've seen this happen a lot. You know, everyone talks about the male midlife crisis, but the female midlife crisis brings them to bars, right? The sun is setting on their beauty, right? They they feel the old clock is a tick, and they want to be able to show they still got it, right? So they start going out with their friends for these girls' nights out. They get a little independence. Their kids are getting a bit older, right? Right? They get a little independence. They start going out to a bar. Now they start hearing these young guys that are hanging out at the bar start telling them all the things that their husband never told them, right?
Mm-hmm.
And next thing you know, they're leaving their husband and kids, and they just empty out the bank account, and the husband's completely shocked.
So we met at the bar. Now, I didn't leave you for him. I don't think that happened. I think I found him maybe at a bar.
After.
Maybe at a bar, yeah.
But I'm just saying that even if you're going through a divorce, whether you be a male or a female,
yeah,
there's a period of time where you'll hang out at a bar because especially if you're a drinker, and then you're going to meet young people because they're always hanging out at a bar.
Yeah, and there's this after my divorce, there's this whole MILF thing out there that I had no idea was a thing.
Oh.
And the young guys, not all, but some of them really have a MILF. There's a whole MILF thing.
Yeah.
And so it's not altogether that far from the truth, this scene with me and this super young guy.
I know that there's I want to get back to that one, but I know that there's women that like older men too.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But I never met one. You know, like no young woman's ever found me attractive.
Oh, stop it.
My demographic is the women that like me the most are over 65. Older women tell me I'm handsome all the time. They go on and on about handsomeness when you're a senior citizen. Senior citizens dig me. Little kids like me too. Like there's a lot of little girls who one girl thought I looked like Prince Charming, and she would say I'm more handsome than Prince Charming and stuff like that. Like, so little girls will say I'm handsome, and old ladies will say I'm handsome, and then in between I'm creepy.
I totally get this. I'm with you 100%. Not on the creepy, but I have never felt more fuckable than when I'm in a room full of men over 60. Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And what about black guys?
Yeah. Well,
they seem to be like regardless of the age, into everything.
I've dated black guys my age. I've dated younger black guys. I was dating a 38-year-old black guy for a while. What I love is their energy. I love the energy of a black guy. They're not as reserved as white guys are.
Oh yeah.
If you look good, they tell you look good.
Ah,
you know? Love that.
Italians
and they're
too.
Fun, and Italians. I don't know. I've never dated an Italian.
And like Portuguese too.
But the black guys, they love the blonde hair, right. And I think some of them because they have such a strong bond with their moms usually.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah,
older ladies.
Yeah, they like strong women.
Yes. Yep. That's exactly what I think it is, because they have strong mother figures, so they are more attracted to women who are older than them a lot of times. Yep. I think that's true too.
I think that's true.
Yeah, and if a guy treats his mom like shit, like you shouldn't date him because he's going to treat you badly.
Mm.
That I think is true too.
Mm-hmm.
If you see a guy that's like not being nice to his mom, he's probably not going to be nice to you.
I'm trying to think of my ex-husband. You have something there. Yeah.
Was he nice to his mom? Was he? Well, I don't know.
He was indifferent.
Indifferent?
Yeah.
That's the worst.
And I feel like that's how he felt about me.
Oh, that's the worst. That's that's like even a joke. A joke, if it does well, that's the best case scenario. If it bombs, that's still better than indifference. Like if people boo you and they're like angry, that's terrific. I'm just as happy as a laugh. But if they're just sitting there and they're just give a shit and they're looking at their watch or something like that, I'm like, man, that's awful. That's the worst. Nothing like, I know. That is kind of like, that is the worst. I know.
Yeah, because hate is not the opposite of love.
No, it's not.
Hate demonstrates passion.
you still care.
You still care. You're in it because you have such feelings for whatever's going on. They may be negative feelings, but they're still really deep feelings. Whereas indifference is the lack of any kind of connection at all to what's going on.
Yeah. That's the mind numbing. Like I need to know what's ticking in your brain, you know, because otherwise I'm trying to figure it out. So if you're not,
you'll always default to the negative. If you're left to come up with the answer, you'll default to a negative result every time.
Yeah, especially when you got a messed up brain and you're putting all your weird shit into it. So then some of it's I've come to find out thanks to the help of a therapist. I should just get in my ad now and then I can do it. But I'm starting to figure out that like a lot of times things that you just come to assume are the way things are. If you really break them down and you look at how much of them are actual facts and how much of them are spin that you put onto it, you know, like your kind of like assumptions and bias and perceptions and all that stuff. It's not really a fact. You can't guarantee it. And then you realize a lot of the stuff is kind of crap that you believe, like most of it. So I try to do that as much as I can just so I stay fair, you know, and be understanding that if someone's like, I don't fight with people anymore because now when a person tries to fight with me, I shouldn't say I don't do it. I try very hard not to fight with people anymore because, and that's like argue, not fist fight, but like to have any dispute whatsoever, disagree, be a disagreeable dude. I don't do that because now instead of if a person comes at me with something I don't like, I just say that person's having a tough day. You know, that person's dealing with their own shit. You know, like they're suffering. They're not like trying to hurt me.
Well, I don't want to bring your show down, but unbeknownst to me, I ended up in a relationship with someone who has a mental disorder.
Oh yeah.
And I didn't figure that out until I was in it. And you've just described that relationship in the sense that his reactions to whatever I was always wrong no matter what. And it wasn't because I was wrong, it's because that was how he was perceiving his perception of my action and the way he was interpreting my actions or my words or anything I was doing was always in a negative bias because that's where he was coming from all the time. And I have such compassion for people who are dealing with this because that's torture. That is excruciating every day to be living like that. Was it hard for me? Yeah. I went through a depression unlike anything I'd ever known after that relationship. It was so hard on me. But he has to live like that every day.
All right. Yeah, I feel bad, like, obviously, for the impact I've had on other people, like, with my problems. But I've been on the other side of it too, where I had a person I had to work with who is like cuckoo bananas, and she had a really elaborate narrative about me that was so far removed from the reality.
But it felt so real to her.
Like you can't, like I can't really deny the impact. Like it would have she'd have physical reaction to me because she believed these nasty things, you know. And then, it was quite the contrary. I was really trying to help her, and I was really felt, you know, bad for the poor girl. But when you face that kind of like onslaught of like accusation, and you just like have this person know that she thinks these things of you, you know, I would never be like that, you know.
No.
But anyways, she. My therapist gave me this thing. It was like a mantra, and you know, he says, "Just say this thing." I tell you, it's stupid, right? It's stupid, but like apparently your subconscious mind's like messed up from when you're a kid. It just gets formed when you're a kid, and then in order to change it, you have to like train it, like you're doing like sit-ups, like muscle memory, right? So you have to like keep doing the same thing over and over again in order to train this thing out of you. And the one that he gave me that. To me, now I just do it like every time I'm faced with something where I notice I'm acting contrary to this will just pop out of my mouth. Like I'll just think it or say it, and it is I exist independently of people's positive or negative opinions of me. It's like you exist independently of people's positive or negative opinions of you. And I do that constantly. And then when I'm seeing that somebody's judging me unfairly, or that it's or even being overly complimentary where they're blowing smoke up my ass, like that'll come into my head, and it helps me. It helps me not worry about where I get frozen and not act before. Now that'll come in my head, like.
That's if only we could all do that, because that would save so much heartache. The people who are voicing their opinions on social media and then experiencing a backlash, they don't understand. It kills them. It breaks them apart, because they don't understand that other people's opinions about what they've said or done may not have anything to do with them as a person.
Not at all.
In fact, probably 99% of it has nothing to do with you. It's where the other person is coming from. Yeah. And so not to take it on, not to take it personally. So if we all had a mantra like that pop in our brains, we'd be so much happier, wouldn't we?
That's why I try to share those things. Some people don't like when I talk about the mental health stuff on the show, because it does kind of like become a little bit too much. If you're a healthy guy like my cousin Mike, he's got nothing wrong with his head. He's like, I don't want to hear about this stuff all the time.
Come on. He's got to have something wrong.
No,
he's got to have something wrong.
You'd think so, but I've looked. He might be a bit of a drunk. Now, that might be his crutch. There's no question about that, but he's well admitted, and he's super fun when he's drunk. Like, he's like one of the most fun guys. Like, no one has a bad time around him when he's drinking. So, I don't know. I mean, I'm searching for it. Believe me, I'm searching for it, because I have a sponsor. I might as well do the ad. I have a sponsor. It's called BetterHelp.
BetterHelp?
Yeah, BetterHelp. So if you basically what we've been talking about is therapy. And so I wish everybody could kind of get something like that, and everybody could do it. Well, now you can. You can, if you think that you could benefit from having some sort of therapy to kind of right your life, like if there's something you feel that's standing in your way of your goals, if there's something that's really preventing you from being the person that you want to be, maybe you can get some better help and go to BetterHelp.com. BetterHelp is not a self-help line. It's not a crisis line. It's professional counseling done discreetly. It's available anywhere you are in the world. It's an international service, so no matter what country you're listening to this show, if you need some help, call up go to BetterHelp.com/Dutch Hall, and they will connect you with a licensed therapist within 48 hours. And once you're connected with your counselor, you can switch at any time if you're not satisfied. You're not waiting in a waiting room with everybody else. You're not, wondering if they're judging you, or wondering if you're as crazy as that guy over there. You're not none of that stuff. And I've used both kinds of counseling, BetterHelp and the others, offline stuff. And I swear to God, it is at least half price for what you're getting as far as care. So I'm really proud to have him as a sponsor of this show. And for Dutch Hall listeners, if you go to BetterHelp.com/Dutch Hall, you get 10% off your first month. That's, again, BetterHelp.com/Dutch Hall, and get 10% off your first month. And BetterHelp is a sponsor of this program. That's the ad. Fucking nailed it, Val.
You nailed it. Yeah. I want to join. I'll tell you something. I was in that depression that I was telling you about, because I had my marriage end, and then I got into this relationship with somebody with mental disorder. And
was he the rebound guy?
I didn't think I had a rebound guy, but I think maybe he was.
How many guys did you date before? He was the first guy did you live with a guy? Live with the mental illness guy?
No.
You were just dating him?
Yeah.
And how long did you date him for?
A year. But that was, 6 months longer than it should have been.
Were the first 6 months good?
The first couple of months were amazing. So much fun.
Was he like a manic?
And then, no. But then it just, the nuclear bombs started falling on my head, and they never stopped after that. Right. But you remember those wonderful heady times in the beginning, and you become, there's something called the trauma bond, and you kind of, so even when they're hurling abuses and calling you the most heinous things you would never want your child to hear someone call you, you're still thinking, oh, but if I could just fix this and get back to the way it was. And you kind of there's a bit of an addictive quality to that. And so I think part of my depression afterwards, after it ended, and it should have ended, and I wish him well, and I don't blame him for anything. It's not his fault he's saddled with this disorder. It took a long time for me to get over that addictive pull of, but because I educated myself about it, and I thought, I'll just change how I am, and it'll make him behave differently if I just stop upsetting him. But of course, that's not going to work. But it took me a long time to get over the addiction of this trauma bond that we had unknowingly created with each other. Anyway, so my point was going to be the isolation then of the pandemic did not help, or maybe it did. I'm not entirely sure, really. But what I found is when I started talking about it, I realized that there were a lot of people that we know who were struggling with their mental health, who were feeling depressed and just didn't know how to talk about it. So this is a service that would be an amazing, valuable service for almost anybody right now.
Yeah, and I think actually, I always forget to squeeze it in the ad. They do have, if you need financial assistance, I think they do have ways that you can get it if you still need the help. Mm. If the price that it is still a problem for you, then I think that you can still, there's financial assistance available. So that's good that we brought it up. But yeah, the pandemic's been weird, man.
Well, people are losing their jobs. I lost my job, and there was no comedic outlet. There was no comedy show where we could hang around with our comedy friends and get our minds off of it and do creative things. It is so healing.
Dude, yeah, man. When I was a banker for like 15 years, and then when I left, I knew I was supposed to only be there 5 years. That's what I said I would. That's what I said in my head. I promised I'll give you 5 years, and then kids and mortgage and all that stuff. You kind of get addicted to the grind or the money or whatever it was, and I ended up staying for 15. It was way too long. And then when I did finally get out of there, I was like, not like you have a crisis of conscience. Like you really feel like you're lost, and I knew I could kind of do anything I wanted. So then it was like infinite, so your brain spins because it's got so much shit to think about. And then comedy was like calmed it all down, like it was like your place where I wasn't anxious or anything anymore. You go on stage, you feel like not nervous, like where you would expect that you should be nervous, you'd be calm. And then it was like, it just felt right, And then those comedians saved my life. Like they really did. Like time and time again, just hanging out with a bunch of people who all didn't fit in. It was like, kind of like, it made sense,
It does make sense, and comedy accepts anybody. Young, old, black, white, or any other color. Doesn't matter what your educational background is. It doesn't matter how much money you have. It doesn't matter what you look like. You could be fat or skinny, tall or short. None of it matters.
Right.
The only thing that matters is, are you funny?
Are you funny? Yeah. And it's not. There's no bias in the judgment of it. The audience decides if you're funny. You can't argue it. You can sit there and look at a comedian and say, I don't really like that guy. I don't think what he's doing is stand-up. I don't think, or his stand-up's not my cup of tea or whatever. But if the audience is laughing, you lose. You're wrong. They like it. So you have to shut up.
That's right.
And that's what I like about it is that, everyone can think that if ever in the world thought that I was a hack, for example, or that thought I wasn't funny, and then I would go up on stage and the audience laughs, then I don't care what they think, I know that they're wrong, So
has everybody ever told you have a Norm Macdonald quality?
I used to get that. I do get that from time to time from on stage, and I don't know what that is. I think it's we're both rural Ontario, like both farm guys or something. I don't know.
Yeah, it's great. I love it because Norm can talk about serious stuff, and he can get into really deep shit. And then he can be ridiculously funny, and sound exactly the same. He'll describe a joke and finding cancer in his testicle in exactly the same tone of voice. I don't know if he did. I don't know if he's found cancer in his testicle.
Maybe. But, I don't. Yeah, that's speculation. That's good that you mentioned that. We don't want any harm to come to Norm's balls. So, but I think that. What was I going to say? Damn it! Oh, I think that it gets me into trouble a lot. You know, if I go to a dinner party, for example, this is before I was doing comedy. I go to a dinner party, and I would be having a few laughs with people, you know, like joking around, and then we get into a serious conversation, and then I would pipe up, "Hey, I'm well read on that topic. I'll join in. Like I have a lot to add, and I enjoy a heady conversation. You know, like why wouldn't I want to add?" And then I try to contribute, and everyone laughs at the table. And I'm like, I didn't fucking say anything funny. I was saying a serious thing, but people laugh. And it would happen consistently to me because either they don't understand what I'm saying, or they just don't see me. The change of gears, they can't get used to both of those gears. You know, you're either the funny guy or the smart guy, but you can't do both. Like pick one.
Brutal.
You know, and I'm like, listen to what I'm fucking saying. You know, and then it would get in my head. And then I would realize after time is lean into it. Like, just go with it. If they're going to laugh at me, then I'll say whatever the fuck I want. And then they'll just think it's funny. And then that happens on stage, too. Do you notice that? If you front load your act with a bunch of good jokes, and then you just start doing the same rhythm as your jokes you told, especially, you can say anything you want, and they're going to laugh. At the time the punchline is. I did a show one time in Woodbridge, and I swear to God, this was happening. There was the audience was super hot. It was like all people of color, you know, like from all over the world, but not Europe. You know, like there's no white people at all, but there was everywhere else in the world. It was a very eclectic hookah room, you know, and Moses brought me there, and it was the best show. It was such a great show. And this one guy was so animated in the front row. You know, you'd say a punchline, he'd like run to the other side, high five people. He was like throwing his head back, throwing his hands in the air, laughing, like just having a ball, you know? And then at the end of the show, they left the mic hot on the stage, like a lot of times they do. And this dude goes up on stage and starts like speaking in the mic. But he's not speaking English. I don't know what he's speaking. He's speaking some language that I'm not unaware of, or it could be gibberish. It's one of the two. But he's speaking in the rhythm of my joke.
Of your joke?
Of my jokes. It was my jokes because I was like, that's my rhythm. I recognize the rhythm of my jokes. Like he was doing it, and then I'm like, he was laughing at the punchlines. I don't even think he understood the joke. Like he was laughing at the rhythm.
Yeah.
He wasn't laughing at the words, you know, because I don't think he understood them, you know?
Yeah.
And he was still new, or it was when the crowd was laughing, then he laughed, or he's got a weak understanding of English, and he was just doing it in his more comfortable language. I don't know. But I remember thinking that sounds a lot like he was mimicking my act, but with gibberish, you know?
I bet if we were to watch a comedy show in another language,
you'd still know when the punchlines were.
We'd know when the punchlines were. Yeah,
you definitely would.
Yeah,
we should do that.
And not just because of the laughing, but because of the rhythm.
Yeah. If you ever watch Don Rickles, if you watch old Don Rickles on YouTube or whatever, you realize he's never written a joke. There's no jokes. He doesn't tell jokes. He just rhythm. It's all rhythm.
It's
like you got like a face that looks like a hit by a rake.
That's right.
Right? It's just like nothing. Bend over and shoot a rocket at my ass, you know? It's just rhythm. And everybody was funny, right? You can't deny it's funny, but there's no jokes. There's no like.
His face was funny too, so that's part of it. I wanted to learn Spanish. I'm trying to learn Spanish because my daughter's birth mother is Mexican.
I worked with Mexicans for over a decade.
Awesome. Well, maybe I can get some. Yeah, I can get some conversational Spanish going.
Okay.
Because the comedy scene is blowing up in Mexico. Maybe not since COVID, but just before COVID, it was blowing up. And there were a couple comedians from Toronto, one in particular, who went down specifically to do Spanish comedy shows. Now, for some reason in Mexico, it was still a fairly new concept, these stand-up comedy shows. So he told me how he almost needed to explain to the audience how it worked.
Right.
So that they would know when to laugh at the right thing. So that maybe they didn't think they should. It was too noisy. So they keep it to themselves. So they kind of had to teach them how to be an audience.
Yeah.
And then they're just so receptive. They love it. So we should try and come up with a way of learning how to tell jokes in Spanish. Maybe it's the same rhythm, and try it out.
Eddie Izzard.
Yeah.
You know him?
Yeah. He does in French, right?
Yeah, he does it in French.
Yeah.
And he tries the same jokes, too. And then some jokes, he knows they just work in French, some just work in English, and some will work in both.
He fascinates me because his brain is going 1,000 miles a second. His brain is fast. He's so smart. He might be too smart for me. I don't always keep up with his jokes.
Yeah, that's true, too, with me. I miss half of it. But I do enjoy listening to him talk. I like that era of comic, like Billy Connolly.
Yeah.
Like I like Billy Connolly too. He's kind of like silly because there's a certain silliness to him as well, and he's an old guy that's being silly, like that gives me hope. Those guys will live forever, eh?
How old is Billy Connolly now? Is he in his 70s?
Oh, yeah, for sure. He's probably the same age as Jimmy England, and they'll both live forever.
Yeah.
Jimmy England will outlive me for sure. That guy's still working his butt off writing jokes. He's a real...
Oh, my God.
Like, that guy doesn't have to do it. He doesn't have to do it if he doesn't want to do it.
It's a reason to wake up in the morning, and it's a reason to still feel... You can feel passionate about things no matter how old you are, and he's proof of that.
When did you start comedy?
I was... Well, technically... In my job as a morning radio host and then as a talk show host, I'd always been writing jokes, right? Jokes,
yeah,
bits. Trouble is, on radio, you do it once and it's gone. That's it. You got the one chance. You might try it out if you fill in on a different shift, maybe, or try it at a different time of the morning, on another day in another month. But it's not like comedy where you can literally tell if you're a grinder, you can be telling your set 3 or 4 times a night if you're a grinder. So, but I didn't start writing a comedy set and get up on stage and do a proper stand-up comedy routine. Oh, and I would MC things all the time, right? And I would drop in jokes during an MC event and get laughs.
So you always kind of had it in you.
I always had it in me, and I always thought, I really, that's the ultimate if I can get up and tell jokes. And I didn't get the courage to do it until I was 48, and then I did it, and I've been hooked ever since. It's the most vulnerable feeling that you can ever have. It's more vulnerable than acting. That is for sure. Because this is I think this is funny. What do you think? Whereas with acting, you're just telling somebody else's words. They're not even your own words.
Yeah.
But this is
completely opposite.
It's all you, and it's just you on the stage, unless you're in a duo, and you either do it well or you don't, and everybody notices which one it is.
Yeah. You do have to change the way you look at the world to survive doing it.
And I'm not funny, as you can clearly tell from this interview. I'm not a funny in person kind of person. I don't make jokes in real life. I'm not clever in that way, but I love sitting down and creating from an idea and working it out as though it's something I've just thought of on stage. But anything I do on stage has always been thought through and is not very spontaneous. I'm not a spontaneously funny person. I wish I was. I'd love to be spontaneously funny, but I'm not.
See, I wouldn't say that about you, Val.
Really?
I mean, I've only
What have I said tonight that's been funny at all?
Well, I don't know. Listen, I'll tell you why I don't think that. Because when I interact with you, I always feel like that there's a lot of laughs. Well, so it's not all coming from me or Joe or those idiots, but it's got to be sometime. Like you got to be part of it.
I'm a jovial person. How about that?
Yeah. You don't shit on a joke. That's for sure. You can recognize a joke and then like you'll laugh at it. And
I'm a very generous laugher. Yeah, if you're funny, I don't have a problem letting you be the funny person.
Yeah, me either. But I went to Patrick Coppolito's birthday party the one time, and god damn it, everybody wouldn't let anybody get a word in. It was like every area of the room was a bunch of people trying to outcock each other.
Oh, God.
Oh, my gosh.
That's exhausting.
Yeah. It's you and generally younger guys, too, right? It's like, you got to get that out of your system, man. Like, nobody gives a fuck.
Well, and as you've just proven tonight, people think I'm funny. They don't realize that I'm actually not very, very funny. But there's something because I react to what they're saying and appreciate what they're doing.
Right.
They somehow attribute me with those powers.
Well, I think it's because you have. I think I get away with this too a little bit because I started when I was 40, and I think I just look like I've done it longer than I have. Right. So people give you a little bit of credit because you have this like air that you've accomplished things because you're a grown up, right? So they see a grown up like you on stage who looks like she's got her shit together, and they just assume you're like a pro, and then they give you like they give you the trust that you're a pro,
right?
Whereas if you were probably
now, are you talking about on stage or
on stage?
Yeah, on stage.
Like from a stand-up audience, if you go on stage, you would have the stage presence,
right?
That people would give you the respect.
I look comfortable for the most part. I look like I'm used to being there. People relax and go, okay, she knows what she's doing.
And your voice,
right? Your
voice is like dynamite.
So like I get people can relax and know that they're in good hands. Right. That's hopefully the impression I'm getting. And then they laugh at a couple of things. They go, yeah, she doesn't know what she's doing. Okay, great. And then they're into it.
And you got good jokes.
Yeah.
And but in the inside, it's not that way. Is that true?
No, I'm not. I'm not a funny person.
Are you confident though?
Oh,
like are you together? Like are you nervous at that point, or are you like?
I've done it for so long. A microphone in my hand or in my face doesn't faze me. I'm perfectly comfortable being up on stage. Now, here's an interesting thing. When I was emceeing something or when I was appearing as Val Cole from blah, blah, blah FM, there was a reason for me to be there. People were expecting me. I was going to do a thing. And I was going to, help, some breast cancer charity event, right? I had a reason to be there. So I could walk into that room, I could walk onto that stage and look and feel perfectly confident. Now, comedy, you've got to prove it every single time. Until you're famous and you can walk into a room and people are there because of you. With where we are, we have to walk in and prove it every single time. And I find that unnerving. So I can fake it. I can fake looking confident because I know how to look confident. But I'm still, until I can get those first couple of laughs, my knees are knocking. My knees are shaking so hard. And if you see me try and take a sip from a water, you'll see the quiver in my hand.
That happens to me too, even when I feel great. But my hand's shaking or my leg will start shaking.
Adrenaline,
it's adrenaline, eh?
Yeah.
And then afterwards too, I'm just wired. But yeah, I feel good. I don't feel nervous or nothing. But the adrenaline's got me, eh? And I also I like the feeling of having to prove yourself every time. Like I like that. Like, and the part that is the most curious to me is that no matter what the situation, how bad it is, and like if you've been through it enough times, you know what the result's going to be. You know what you're going to be doing to yourself. And then
it's the drive home cry. Oh God.
Well, that's why. At first it was brutal. You drive home and you'd be like, "Oh my God, like I am the worst." Delusional.
Why did I think I was ever going to be good at this?
Yeah.
Everybody there tonight was so much better than me. They must be. I'm an idiot.
Yeah, what are they thinking about me? Like, I'm so embarrassed, And then I remember my wife.
Norm.
My wife would be like, "You got Tourette's or something? You just lie in bed and you just fuck. Like I'm just going through my act and thinking all the times that it didn't go like it was supposed to go, like in my head, and that was brutal. And then after a while, you realize you can't do this to yourself forever because doesn't accomplish anything.
No.
And then you start to then I started to lean into it a bit. Now I'll bomb, but I still know how to save enough that it's not as humiliating because I'm more skilled now. So you can still save a few things. And I just don't care nearly as much about their reaction because I've succeeded enough times that I'm not questioning if I'm funny. I'm not questioning if I can do it. Like I know I'm funny. I know I can tell good jokes. I know I can make a crowd laugh. So if I'm not doing it now, especially if I'm working on something, I can just put it in perspective. And if people really hate me, like if people really viscerally like...
Has that ever happened?
I had one girl stood on her chair just to yell at me because of a vagina joke I did.
What?
Yeah. And she was pointing and like screaming. It was making me laugh so hard because I've never seen anyone get so upset, And I had another girl, she was very drunk too, this one. She was right up at the stage and she was telling me how funny. She was saying, "You're funny, like that." And then I told that exact same joke that the other girl didn't like. And then she went from being like, "You're funny," to like, "You're a fucking asshole."
What? I gotta hear this joke. Can you tell me the joke?
I think the joke was something about, I tell a bunch of dick jokes and then I just say like,
I don't remember these dick jokes. I think you do, but I don't remember. Like, I don't think of you as a dick joke guy.
Oh, I'm a dick joke guy. And then anyway, so I say these dick jokes, and then I go, "Ladies, I'm going to throw one in for the ladies." It's not like your stuff ages gracefully either. I bet you there's a bunch of people in this very room who started dating a girl. She had something look like a nice peach between her legs, and then like 25 years later, you're going to bed every night with someone that looks like she's got a shot octopus in her underpants. I think that's what I said. And then, so to me, I think a shot octopus. Yeah,
what's that? What's a shot octopus?
Like if you have an octopus and then you shoot it.
Oh my God!
And then the octopus is dead and it's lying there with his tentacles.
I'm just thinking of the tentacles. Yeah, you imagine an old vagina as a tentacled.
Yeah, if you ever if you see an octopus on the butchers, like at the fishmongers, and you see it lying there dead,
oh my God,
just hanging out.
That's awful.
Yeah,
it gets a little flappy. I will admit, it gets a little flappy.
I added a tag, but I only tried it in Oshawa, and it worked there. But Oshawa's a bad testing ground, eh? Because Oshawa laughs at everything because they're dirtbags in Oshawa. I like them. Oshawa, London, and Hamilton.
The Schwa.
Yeah, those are good. Those are good working class towns that'll laugh at a good dick joke.
All right, what was the tag?
It's like a sideways lasagna. That's what I said. They liked it.
Sideways lasagna.
Yeah,
You're expanding my mind on so many levels here. I didn't.
Maybe I have a wrong impression of.
I think you look at the wrong vaginas.
Yeah. To be honest, they don't really look like that. I find there to be two kinds of vaginas that I see most of the time, mostly on the internet. The one's like a front bum. It's like a sneaky front bum.
Oh.
It just looks like a crack in the front, you know? And you're like, what's going on there? Nothing. I can't see what's going on, you know? And I'm like,
are her legs together?
no, you'd be like, if you watch the Pamela Anderson, Tommy Lee video, do you remember that from back in the day?
Yeah,
it was that porno. Pamela Anderson's vagina.
Yeah, she had a tight mound, right?
Yeah, there was nothing, just a crack.
Yeah.
And you're like, where the hell is all the kibbles and bits?
And that's where we started. I think when we saw her, that's when we all started taking off all the hair, right?
Yeah, I
think
guess
she might have been.
But that was not an attractive vagina to me. Like, that vagina looked razor bumpy and yucky, and it was like, why? I don't even know where it goes in. It's just to me, it was not my style of vagina that I'm interested in. I like to know what's going on. I like to have more of it on display, you know, like a lotus flower opening up, you know.
Lotuses grow from the mud, you realize.
So,
well,
the flower opens up, right? And then, like, that's what I'm trying to give an analogy of the way that
petals and
like petals, the vagina lips, the vulva come out like petals, and just they flop out like that.
Mine, when it flops open like that, looks more like a creature from the Black Lagoon.
Like, it's got too much.
It's a bit flappy. Yeah, it's the best way to describe it. I try to give it a little bracing slap just to wake it up.
Really?
If I know it's going to be looked at, yeah.
Now I have a question, because I don't have a vagina, and I don't have much experience with women. But if there's those front bum girls, right? They got those slits there. I've never seen one in real life. Like, I've never real life been with a girl like that, you know, where she's got that sneaky thing. But I'm wondering, if you got something like that, is that it in its resting state? Like, that's like in it the way it is when it's like just not aroused, and then if you were to like be messing with that thing for a while, it would eventually like kind of like loosen up and open up and stuff.
I can't speak for all vaginas, but while there is some thickening, I suppose there's more blood that gets flowing, right? But we don't have the enlargement situation that you guys deal with.
It's just more blood goes in there.
Nothing nothing grows to the point where it is now and it wasn't before. It's nothing like that.
But if it wasn't all full of blood and it was just kind of like, it could be crumpled up, you know, like a bat's wings. Yeah. And then all of a sudden it gets full of blood and you can see, oh, it's got all this stuff, right? I don't know. I know girls are self-conscious about that sort of thing, eh?
Well, when you've got too much flappy stuff, yeah.
I think that's ridiculous. They shouldn't be self-conscious about that.
Well, I feel the same way for so long for guys who had a foreskin. I used to feel terrible when people would shame them about that because there's nothing wrong with it.
Yucky.
And if you've got a vagina that has a lot of hanging, like somebody's hanging their laundry, for crying out loud, then you would feel self-conscious about it.
But like there's nothing. That's an attractive thing to me. If they had more of it, like I would think if they had more stuff, it would be even better. Like I don't know. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I've never seen one where there's the extra stuff. And thought I would think that's more attractive rather than less. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Also,
thank you on behalf of girls with flappy vaginas.
Yeah, I don't think it's a bad thing. I hear people getting things tucked and nipped and stuff, and I'm like, that's a waste, man, because I don't see that as being an unattractive quality. Also, pubic hair is not unattractive.
I miss hair on guys. I'm going on record as saying, bring back the hair. I mean, I love chest hair, right?
Yeah.
And I love stomach hair, and it looks weird if you don't have any pubic hair.
Yeah, exactly. What the hell? We're grown-ups,
I'm
right?
not a pedophile. I don't want to be a pedophile.
And a man, especially, like, for me, like, I will trim it. I have it's supposed to be quarterly, but I go maybe like biannual. I get a shearing from my wife, where I stand in the shower like this, and she just takes the trimmers and shears me like a sheep. But she doesn't. She doesn't go to the skin. She puts like a number 2 or something on, so that I don't.
But that can be a little prickly.
And just for a little bit till it grows back out. But right now I'm at the point where I think I'm due for a shearing because the stuff will grow so goddamn long. Like there's a point where it's.
It does seem weird. What's the biological reason for all of that, I wonder?
I don't know. Just, I don't know, man, because why would my hair on my head die and fall out, and then the hair on my body, like, grow like crazy?
I know.
Hair in my ears and my nose. Come on.
Fucking bodies.
Aging's weird and sucks, but it's not that big of a deal.
How do you shave? Do you shave the balls, or?
Oh, I got you. This is the last show where I won't be able to. I'm getting a ball shaving sponsor, and we'll be able to promote their product, but I think I do. I resisted it forever. I probably was one of the last holdouts on manscaping that existed in my age group. Because, like, I remember going, like, saying to my friends for years and years, you shave your balls? And they'd be like, yeah. I'd be like, what? You're a fancy boy, Like, what's the matter with you? And, like, I'm a man. I got hair. That's what I do, right? And then I realized, like, I'm just, like, it's just a mess, So then I started cleaning myself up, just taking a little bit of care, because I started hearing from some of my girlfriends, they're like, that's disgusting that you don't do that, like, just clean yourself up. I'm like, so I did. And so I still will do that, but you gotta, like, be careful, Same with your vaginas, if for the ladies out there. This is my opinion. Do whatever you want. But I think you keep evidence that you're an adult on top. That's what you want. Nice
like a triangle or something?
Yeah, triangle, landing strip, or whatever. You want to go natural, the V, like any formation, just evidence of your adulthood.
Okay.
Right? That's what I say. Now, and then below that,
clean it up
a little bit,
somebody's got to.
That's where all the working
get in there.
The working parts are. You don't want anything in the way.
Yeah.
And if you enjoy the, you don't want people like stuff getting stuck in people's teeth and et cetera. So that's what I'd say. That's the perfect blend, because sometimes you look at the old. You see Demi Moore when she's like 18.
No.
And you gotta look it up. Demi Moore when she's 18 and she's poses nude in like Penthouse or something, and she looks like she's got shorts from her knees to her belly button. Like she's an Armenian girl. She's got like thick black hair. You cannot see one detail in her vagina because the hair is it's honestly like a pair of like fur shorts.
What year was this?
Well, I don't know how old Demi Moore is. She's gotta be getting up there.
Yeah, she's 50s.
Well, she was 18 then, so it's like way back whenever. Probably
we were
80s.
Yeah,
80s.
So it was still all hairy.
Yeah. Oh yeah. When I first vagina I got to touch was like 1990, and goodness, I was in the front of my Mercury Monarch. I remember putting my hand down her pants and I, at that time it was high waisted.
I love that you remember the make of the car.
Yeah.
You're such a guy.
And then they have with 2 bench seats too, eh? So you could. And then there was I remember high waisted jeans. So you put your hand in the top, but then you just keep going down, and you're like, hey, I'm going to find it. But like you put your hand in her pants, and then you hit the belly button, right? Like the belly button's in the pants. Pants, and then you hit pubic hair, not too far below the belly button. Mm-hmm. So you think I must be getting close, right? Because I got the hair. And then you're up the way to your elbow, round in the corner before you get to anything. And I'm thinking, where the hell is this? Turns out it's by the butt, eh? It's by the butt. Did we? Oh yeah. It's. We think we have gone quite long, Val.
Oh, have we?
Yeah, I think it's almost 10 o'clock now. And I haven't done feedback, but I will do quick couple ads. I know we haven't done feedback, but if you guys would like to give us some, you can go to livefromthedutchhall@gmail.com, or you can go to Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, any of that stuff. And tell us what you think of the show and tell us how to make it better. Thank you to everyone who has done that. And we are lucky. And also you can go to Patreon. Go to patreon.com/DutchHall if you want to support our show. Thank you very much to Jen Husko. Sorry about all the inside comedy talk, Jen. I know how you don't like it. But you are our queen. You're the only one that pays us money, and you are the... you are really the queen of the show. So if you want me to take this show that I just done with Val with all this conversation we had and just throw it in the garbage because you don't want the comedy talk, I will do that for you, Jen Husko. And I will do it for any of you that will spend money on my program, although it costs you is $10 a month.
Oh, man. What a sellout.
Yeah. Jen is our queen.
Yeah?
She didn't even go for the cheap package. She went for the middle package, and she's the only one that's done it. So we'll do anything she says.
If she tells you to kick me right in the cunt, would you do it?
Yes. Yes, I would do that.
Don't say, Jen.
Jen,
listen to me.
Don't do that, Jen.
Yeah.
I don't want to do that. I would never want to do violence.
I'm not a rich woman. I'm unmarried. I'm a single mother.
She won't.
My vagina is the only thing that I'm hanging on to this thing by a thread. It's please don't make him kick me.
I would never. I'm a pacifist, though. I would, if I did kick you, it would be just to satisfy the condition of what she asked me to do. But I would be not putting my full weight into it.
Oh, okay.
You'll be getting a nice tap at the top of my foot. That's all you're going to see. You barely even feel it. Okay, so I'm going to end this show, Val, with you. Thank you very much. You've been an excellent guest, and I've enjoyed getting to know you better. So I have to. We're not going to do the last one, but we're going to do. I had 5 questions, but now there's only 4. No, that's not it. Oh. Here we go.
All right.
I got them.
I have not been shown these questions. I have no idea.
So I'm going to do a series of questions. These are going to be relatively quick. Don't worry about it. It's not going to be long. I know I told you at the beginning of the show that I was going to go long. I'm not going to go long, I promise. Rank these 3 professions in order of most dignity. Stripper, porn star, prostitute.
So highest dignity at the top?
Yeah. Which one has the most dignity of those 3?
Stripper, porn star, prostitute.
Another way to look...
Yeah, go on.
I would say another way to look at it, baby, what would you most upset if your daughter did and then you'd have to reverse the order?
No, I don't want to answer it like that.
No, or...
Because I can't think... Don't make me think about my daughter!
I'm sorry. That's even bad because I've never met her. If I had met her, I wouldn't even ask the question because then she'd be a real person to me. But right now she's just a story and I'm sorry to do that. I
think, from my perspective, that the prostitute deserves the most amount of respect because she's doing it.
Right.
Okay? So she's number 1 on my list.
Right.
And then stripper because she's getting down into it with the real people as well. I mean, she's putting on a show for people. I respect that. Trying to make people have a nice evening. Right. Trying to make money. So number 2. And then porn star, I feel, has the lowest dignity. Now,
if I changed it so that it was, instead of stripper, porn star, and prostitute, it was compete in a wet t-shirt contest, have an OnlyFans page, and suck a guy's dick for concert tickets.
How would I rank those?
Yeah.
I gotta get it to the girl who's sucking the dick for concert tickets.
That's the best action?
Yeah.
Okay. That's fair. That's fair. Hey, you want to go to see Ray? I'm just kidding. No, I'm just kidding. No, just kidding.
Wow, who would I be wanting to see so bad I would suck a dick?
Yeah, that's another question. I don't have it written here, but that's even better than anything I wrote down.
Oh, man.
Who would be the band? Would it have to be a reunited band? Because does it have to be living or does it have to be living? Like, yes, it has to be someone that you could actually see today. Mm-hmm. So you can't bring back a dead person. I would.
Can I suck a dick to get on? Say, if Oprah was doing a show, if I could get on Oprah's show.
My dad was at Oprah. Saw a live taping of Oprah, an old tobacco farmer.
Wow,
crazy. I can't believe he did that, but my sister dragged him to it. Oprah, you'd suck a dick for Oprah tickets?
Maybe.
But it would be, I wouldn't. I would suck a dick for, well, it's not the same. Because now, as I don't want to suck a dick, right? But I would eat a pussy for nothing. I would eat a pussy to go see like a busker. That's not even close to the same. What would you do if I called you Valerie?
I'd say I tried on Valerie for a while.
Yeah.
I thought when I turned 50, I thought, okay, I think I'm gonna go by Valerie, because Val always felt very friendly, and I felt oddly guilty about making people say so many syllables. So, but when I was 50, I thought it's only 3 syllables, for God's sakes. It's not you're not making them cross the desert. So go by Valerie. It's more sophisticated, more mature, and it just didn't fit. So if you called me Valerie, I mean, I wouldn't be offended.
Would you answer to it, though?
I wouldn't correct you. Yeah, of course.
Like
I'd
if you were
answer to
sitting across the room and I said, "Hey, Valerie, would you turn around?"
Of course. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you do. Some people do call it to you. Does your mom or someone like? Would you?
Occasionally, people will call. Yeah, my mother, Valerie, would call me.
Yeah.
Like that.
What is your death row meal?
I'll tell you what. My first job was working at the Donut Queen in Kitchener, Waterloo. I was 14 years old. I developed an eating disorder at this Donut Queen because I loved the donuts so much, and they let us eat them for free. I gained so much weight, and I destroyed my intestinal system. My system can't tolerate gluten anymore as a result. And but I've never stopped loving donuts. I can't eat them. I can't. They destroy my body. I can't do it now.
But death row.
But death row, oh my God. My fantasy. So when I need to go to a happy place, I imagine a room filled with these have to be fresh donuts, you understand? Because I used to eat them when they were still warm.
Oh.
And so piles and piles of fresh donuts everywhere, and I'm naked, and I'm lying in the donuts and just eating them, rubbing them on my vagina, doing whatever. I want a lot of fresh donuts for my
What's the name of that
death row meal.
What's the name of that donut that's like
the twisty curly thing? Yeah.
It's like a braid, but it's long like that.
I know.
Shove that in your wazoo, eh?
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Get a little glaze on it. Anyway, just ideas there. I just like to be helpful. And then last question here. You're friends with Joe Botello.
Mm-hmm. Do your listeners know who Joe Botello is?
Oh, yeah. They know who he is. There's a whole group of listeners from Interkip who are very much anti-Joe. Joe has attacked them numerous times on our program, and they hate them. They openly hate Joe.
That sounds like something Joe would do.
In fact, because Joe will never listen to this show, because even if I tell him it's about him, I'd have to pull this clip and then send it to him and say it's about you. Then and then he might watch it. But one time I want to book a show around here, and then ask Joe to like headline. I don't know about that, but I'll ask him to be on. No, I'll ask him a headline, and then I'll get a busload of people from Interkip who don't like him,
mm-hmm.
and then stack the crowd. Like, just get them the whole, like, I think I can pull it off. Like, I think I can get these people these listeners to gather together to come to a show, even because I can book a show around here and get like 10, 15 people. And if I made those and Joe would probably be happy to perform for it. So if I get 10, 15 people who hate him from Interkip to be the whole audience, and they're when he's the headliner, right? And then he'd come out like preparing a headlining set and stuff, and the whole crowd would be there just to make his life miserable.
Yeah.
Like I think it would be so fun for the rest of us if we all knew, and then he didn't.
He didn't.
Yeah.
But here's what I don't understand. So people have made careers out of making fun of small towns, and the small towns usually love it. My co-host for the longest time at Chime would make fun of Meaford, and the Meaford folks loved it. Couldn't get enough of it. So why Interkip? Why so sensitive, Interkip?
It's the way Joe does it.
Oh.
It's the fact that it's just pure attack.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's no real.
The man has no filter. He has no filter.
Yeah, and he wasn't really going for the joke as much as he was just going to like just be mean to Interkip, right?
Okay.
And ignorance, you know. Grotesque ignorance, you know, where he's just like getting it wrong all the time. You know? Like he's off the mark. That's more Joe's problem. And it's been confrontational. He's called on Interkip. Interkip's responded back.
Wow.
They don't like it. Also, Joe has had run-ins with the Nocturnal Emissions, which was the house band for my show for years. They've taken a hiatus in season 8, but and there, behind that bass guitar, there was a picture of Joe with a circle and a cross through his face. That is the band liked to have that behind where they played because to state their position on what they felt of Joe's appearances on our show.
Wow. And
he's been one of the most controversial guests we've had. The most pieces. Oh, sorry. The most pieces of feedback. What's going on here?
What are you doing? You're trying to look up feedback?
No, I was trying to play a stinger. Oh. See? Kevin I usually have a guy run the soundboard. But every time I say feedback, that's what it's supposed to do. That was the right click.
So anyway, you're going to ask
my last question here. You are friends with Joe. What do you think the grossest part of his body is? The grossest part. Now, I'm going to make you think about this man's whole body. You go top to bottom. You're looking at the face. You're looking at the neck. You're looking at those hairy shoulders and arms. You go down to the boobs. You got the belly. You got the belly button. God knows what's in that thing. Then you have the whole ass and balls.
I feel like he probably doesn't clean his asshole as thoroughly as he should.
So you think that the view from behind looking straight up into Joe's ass?
That's probably the worst.
The worst. Fair enough. Yeah,
I don't know that he's got the reach around.
Oh, yes, you're right.
I don't think he's got the arm length, the lever length.
He does look like his arms should be longer.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Actually, full credit to the dude for that and not have a worse smell. Right? I would say he's done something right.
Yeah, I've never smelled his ass.
Yeah, he doesn't.
No.
He doesn't have it's not clear that, but the physics, you're right. It's like, but sometimes you're like, how does a bumblebee fly?
I don't know.
You don't know, but it does. You know, how does Joe wipe his ass? I don't know.
But he does.
Maybe.
Hopefully.
Anyways, that's our show for everyone. Val, I really do appreciate you coming in. Thank you very much. And if you guys like to, again, provide me with some feedback, you know how to do that. LiveFromTheDutchHall@gmail.com, all that stuff. And until next week, we will see you, NT. See you next Thursday.